Hi, I'm Wendy. I have been a Cubs fan since 1984, when I was just a little 9-year-old kid. I am making this little video to talk about the experience that my husband and I had at the Cubs convention 2026, just this past weekend. So we now live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So we got our tickets to the Cubs Con. I think it was in September, early September of last year. Decided to stay at the Sheraton. We booked our room. We got our, we signed up. Everything was good. We were crazy excited. It was kind of like a very, very delayed honeymoon / anniversary celebration. So we were pumped. Well, we got there, we got to the Sheraton around 1:30, 2 o'clock on Friday, the 16th. And, there were a lot of people, for sure. And everything was fine. We checked into our room. Then we went downstairs and checked into the convention. We got our badges, the lanyard. We were set. So we grabbed some lunch and knew that the opening ceremony started at 6 and that the doors opened for that at 4:30. So I said, the only other time, I told my husband, who'd never been to a Cubs convention, I said the only other convention experience, Cubs Con experience I've had was in 2019 when I only went to the Friday. I only went to the opening ceremony, but we didn't have very much of a wait. When the doors opened to the ballroom where the ceremony was held, we ran in, we sat in the 5th row. One of the best experiences of my life, okay? So naively, I was kind of expecting the same kind of thing, right? But I saw a line forming in the lobby downstairs around 4, and I was like, I asked someone in the line, what is this line for? Oh, this is the line to get up to the ballroom. I was like, okay. So we got in this long, snaking, winding line in the lobby, okay? And long story short, they were letting people up the escalator kind of in groups, okay? One group would go, then they'd stop, then another group would go, then they'd stop. By the time we finally got up to the doors of the ballroom, we were screwed. It was full. There were literally thousands of people outside the ballroom doors wanting to get in to the opening ceremony, but no, we were turned away. At this point, I was about ready to pack and go home. I was a really, really special level of angry, and I was not alone. A lot of Cubs fans were kind of freaking out, okay? You guys, you don't sell tickets to an event if you can't accommodate the people that you sold the tickets to. What happened? I don't know if it was the Cubs organization. I don't know if it was the hotel. I don't know if it was both. What happened? This was terrible, okay? Awful start to the Cubs convention for so many of us. Unacceptable. So we went back to our room and we watched it on the TV in our hotel room, okay? And then Saturday comes around and we get in line. We went downstairs for an autograph. I had to get Nico's autograph. That was the main, that was the thing that I was at the Cubs convention for, was to meet Nico, okay? My very, very, very favorite. So we get in line for Nico at about 6:30 for his 10 o'clock autograph signing. I got down to this room where the autographs are, and there was just masses of people, literally like a cluster of people, not knowing what they were waiting for, which line they were supposed to be. There were no lines. It was a cluster, literally. Finally, I asked this really nice kid, I said, what is this line for? And he said, I think it's for Nico. So finally, a staff member got everyone in, lines for the 5 different autograph sessions on the different stages, A through E. Finally, some lines were formed. Again, snaking around, just these long, long lines. The sea of the mass of humanity at this Cubs conference was like nothing I've ever seen before. And I absolutely could not believe it. So we get in this line for Nico. Gonna try to make this one really short too, but basically, got in line at 6:30. My husband and I were both there. Met some amazing Cubs fans who can't wait to meet up for a game this summer with. That made it so tolerable. I love these fans that we met. But anyway, you know, people were not guaranteed autographs. So at about 8:45, 9 o'clock, I went upstairs to grab a coffee and a water. I was dying of thirst. Got my husband a latte in the cafe, in the hotel. Went to go back downstairs to get back in line because it was getting, you know, it was like 9:30, getting close to the time to get in line for the actual autograph. And there was a security guard at the top of the escalator not letting people back downstairs. So I couldn't get back in the line. So at this point, I don't use the F-bomb. I hate the word, but I was mad. So I texted my husband and I said, they're not letting me back down. And he was not having it. And again, long story short, he got another security person to come upstairs, escort me down the escalator so I could get back in line. So happy ending, right? I got Nico's autograph. The line for his autograph was cut off right after us. So we got our little ticket for a guaranteed autograph. And then there were hundreds and hundreds of people in the overflow lane right next to us that maybe you'll get an autograph, but probably not. So you're SOL, bye-bye. What freaking happened, you guys? Don't do this again. I heard that they oversold tickets by 200%. Not verified, okay? Not verified information, but that's what I keep hearing and seeing on the socials. That they oversold by 200%. What? Why? How? Are you out only to make a buck? I know you are. But whoever organized this, terrible. Epic fail. Epic fail. There were kids that it was their birthday gift, right? To go to the Cubs conference and maybe meet their favorites and get autographs. The kids were getting turned away in droves. People flew in from Florida. People flew in from all over the country. And to get turned away over and over and over. No. When you get this, you should be able to take part in all of the activities, all of the autographs, anything you want. This is your ticket. This is what you paid good money for and took off of work for and traveled for and made plans for and paid the hotel room for. This should get you a Cubs convention experience. And I am ticked off. I am ticked off. I love the Cubs. I will always love the Cubs. I got Nico's autograph, barely. Thank you, God. It was amazing. But you guys, whoever organized this Cubs convention this year, 2026, fail. Epic fail. Do better. This was ridiculous. I'm just going to stop there. There was more frustration because of the massive, massive overcrowding. Don't let this happen again. This was ridiculous. And there are many, many fans who are very, very pissed off.